Last but not least, I would like to invite Wing Tang, CFO of Fore to talk about her company. Fore is one of the very few asset management firm with a virtual asset license. Wing, please.
Thank you, Alice. I'm Win, CFO of Fore. It's my honor to be here today and have a discussion with you. Fore is the regulated crypto asset manager, and we specialize in the crypto investment. And since we have been in this industry for over 10 years, and over the past years, we have around one thing that is regulations. What differentiates us from others is that we got approval from SFC last year that we can manage 100% of virtual asset funds. And now we are one of the few regulated crypto asset manager in the market. And also as a hedge fund, we are actively manage our crypto portfolio unlike other tracker funds. So in last year, we launched a new fund which called Fore Flagship Fund, and in March, during the crypto winter. But thanks to our team and thanks to our strategy, we still got the positive returns in last year. Even the market cracked down for nearly 60%. Since we outperform the markets and we distribute our year-end dividends to our shareholders. In the coming years, we will like to keep doing the right things and embrace the regulation to find out more investment opportunity and seeing any good chance for we have so many youth focused on the blockchain, and we would like to spend more time with them and to see help them to grow up and also grow up with us for also the whole industry. Yeah.
Thank you. Very outstanding performance.
Thank you, Alice.
Okay. Wing, do you have anything to share about what you feel about the investor appetite in digital asset?
Yeah, I agree with Robert. Yeah, actually, before people are still in the wait and see mode, but after the announcement of the policy statement and also the speech in the FinTech Week, all of these release a signal that Hong Kong is turning to be the virtual asset hub. It is a good signal for Web3, the whole industry. And because of this, the market sentiment is much positive than ever. And also as a market player, the industry player, what we worry the most is uncertainties. And now it seems the regulation is much more clear, and we could better to evaluate the pros and cons and make a decision whether we further develop in Hong Kong, and the startup can have more chance in this industry to come to Hong Kong and to grow up their business. I think it is a good signal to the whole industry of the Hong Kong.
Thank you. I would like to open the floor to see if there's any question. Don't be shy. If not, okay, there's one at the back.
I can speak up. Actually, I'm really pleased to see government and the guest speakers are all supported in the blockchain world now. And this year, I believe that the technology will be something we are looking into. Especially, these 2 weeks, we don't talk about Web3 anymore, we talk about ChatGPT somehow. And I see all the students are all using it to correct their codes now. So, what do you think? Having this kind of AI technology coming in, will it also improve our technology in blockchain? And also could it, actually helping us to make this become more popular? As you know, we don't really use this technology right now in the retail or daily life at the moment. But I really look forward to that. Is there anything you would suggest what industry will be doing it more in Hong Kong, or what kind of industry you guys from the government side are pushing it? I see Duncan Wong and Duncan is doing it on using insurance policies. Will you guys push it to other industries?
So the usage of AI and blockchain in real world.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is developing. I think technology has always been developing. I mean, previously, I think most of the people working in the tech field are more concerned with breakthrough in technology. But I think now every industry have to actually pay attention to what things are happening in the tech area. Like ChatGPT, people are thinking about, okay, professors have to do their work differently, right? How they come up with the test papers. And there are also other things like AI, generative graphic design, like Blue Willow, Midjourney, things like that. And if you look into these tools and you tried it, you will think that people in the creative industry, they will be gone. You don't have to study art in universities because you can generate an art in 2 seconds, which is much better than any designer you can hire. So I think these are things that been actually evolving, that it will actually affect everyone in the world, not just people in technology. Like crypto is actually impacting the financial sector. So, but I think a dual principle is very important. So you also have to understand technology and also the field that you're in. I think human work will still always be there, but it will be transformed by the use of technology. What ChatGPT has done is more like AGI, right? So it's been around for many years. People were talking about when we have DeepMind and other AI technology 10, 20 years ago, where they were doing single task work much better than human. Like in hospital authority now, we have these AI to look at these FIPIN or all these other, documents much better than human and much faster than human. So as a doctor, you just have to know how to adopt to use AI in future instead of just using your blank eye to treat patients. So I think all industry professionals just have to adjust the way of work with the development of technology, because there's no going back. AI will not replace human, but it will replace human that not use it. So I think that's a really good statement that we can use. So everyone really have to learn. And I think blockchain will also evolve. So that's why I say I feel quite uncomfortable last year with a lot of people in the virtual asset area, especially in Hong Kong, where people is only, their only concern is on speculation and how to make money, where people not really paying attention in building the technology. So I think things has also improved. I think the Ethereum migration is a great work. The Ethereum 2.0 laying down a better foundation for a lot of transactions and better TPS. And things people like Avalanche and other teams that are working in the area, they are all developing new technology in blockchain where it can be used in unlimited area. So I think this is the time we should go and look in Hong Kong what we're going to build. Policy, we have forthcoming policies. Talents, we can attract a lot of talents in Hong Kong. So I think we have to just, no matter where you're working on, I hope people will look more into technology, and especially people in digital asset, you have to understand technology and you also have to understand economics. If you don't understand how the financial market works and just technology, it wouldn't work. So I think that's the approach that we should take, and I hope some teams there will be 20 years later the next Facebook or the next PayPal in Hong Kong.
Another speaker want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I think Hanji want to say something, and I'll try to say it for you.
Thank you.
I can feel that you want to say something. Yeah, great questions. In fact, we spent last 2 months, we commissioned 3 teams to understand how we can use AI in real businesses. 1 failed, 2 others gave me a POC, which we are deploying headcounts and resources to investigate. So first use case, I think, that failed is actually investment. By the way, I actually came from investment background. I studied economics and statistics back in University of Chicago. I started in New York with UBS doing arbitrage strategy. So so-called the AI today, or ChatGPT today, is actually a very simple technology that we had employed even 20 years ago with slower computer to calculate or to make predictions on how market can move, for example, or how things react. So there's nothing new really with the ChatGPT except they write it more adequately and elegantly than you used to. The computer is faster. So that failed. Doesn't mean that it completely failed. It means that if you can limit the amount of time that you expose your risk to the market, then yes, it works. So two other applications. One is the most exciting one, I think, is client service. So we are making our client service team, and we have an NFT team. If you remember, they're creative people, just like Hanjin, very creative people, happy people as well, and beautiful people, by the way. They create beautiful things. We try to create this with an AI-driven customer service. And what does it mean? It means that it will cost us a lot less to train a customer service representative. And it will also present ourselves much better to our customers in a much faster version. And by the way, we are a financial company. We offer financial service. We have all these licenses. You can come in to trade stocks and bonds and cryptocurrencies, or even CBDC in the future. You can keep custody of your asset with us. You can borrow and lend money with us. Lots of variation, lots of products, lots of possibility. How do you train someone for that? How do you make it consistent? That's why ChatGPT helps a lot. Not to make the person better, but to make it faster and more efficient and cheaper. Doesn't mean that person is perfect. I want to highlight. In fact, a lot of content on ChatGPT is not so robust. I want to highlight. And 3 is where I think is a dream that we hope we can all achieve together this year to understand how to make it happen. Is actually, I personally don't quite believe in metaverse before, I have to say, because I believe that the right form of metaverse should be a gamified environment, to the like of this American company, sorry, skip my mind, but Fortnite, the like of Fortnite would be the best in terms of creating a metaverse, and they did, by the way. But now what? Now with ChatGPT or AI in general, you actually can make or create a metaverse experience. Again, it's very loosely defined. 3D environments, artistic requirement, or graphic environment much faster and quicker. So I think that's where, to the gentleman questions, will it change something? Yes. Where it will put into applications, I don't know. But I think client services and probably a loose form of metaverse, AR, VR experience will be where the AI application will truly enhance, and hope that we can get something out by the end of this year.
Thank you, Eddie. Definitely very exciting to combine AI with other aspects of the business. Hanjin, if you have something to say, I'm sure you have some idea to share about. If you want to hear more about Hanjin, stay with us behind. In the afternoon, he'll be here for the whole day. Okay? May I spend the last few minutes to invite another question from the floor? Doctor?
Yeah. A very basic question. This is a very good forum. I've heard Hanjin talk about a startup doesn't really have to think about money first. You do need seed money as a banker. And then we talk about startup. And having been raised in America, I was told by friends that a lot of graduates in the past all want to work for investment banks. In the US, now they all want to work for startup companies. How can the government or the companies or the universities play a role to educate students? I am a little bit in student development, working with study. How do you attract a student or graduate to work for $20,000 per month, $30,000 per month, versus Goldman Sachs maybe $80,000 per month? So what are the obstacles we, together, the stakeholders, have to do to educate the public? Thank you.
Yeah, Robert and Duncan, you guys have any feedback on this?
Thank you, Albert. I think that's a good point, and I think that I have to jump in and say something on this. I think first, number one is that's the job we have all the time. That also under Secretary Sun, we have to 洗底. I think Hong Kong has a really backward experience, or we still have the impression of the old IT market. Okay, for the last 10 years, I think we have done a lot, and there's many student teams. We have unicorns. We have a company that, in the last 5 years, they raise the amount of money more than any listed company in Hong Kong. Not any, some, listed company in Hong Kong. You have Animoca raise in, I don't know, $1 billion more US dollar in 18 months. I don't think a lot of listed company raise money like that amount. And if you work in cybersecurity, I heard in many professional firms, they're hiring people like $1 million Hong Kong a year. They cannot get the right candidate. Okay, so there's a lot of job openings in Hong Kong. I think the last 10 years is a big shift in Hong Kong. 10 years ago in Hong Kong, IT means you are the backbone supplier. You know, you work for banks, for corporates, and what you do is make sure the connectivity is there, make sure the email doesn't fail. And you know, maybe some people provide middleware, ERP system, things like that, system integration, tendering for government projects. So I think this is the problem with the Hong Kong development before, and students are not looking into studying computer science and, you know, looking for a 20,000 Hong Kong dollar job. So maybe less than that. So that's the problem, you know, we have this gap in Hong Kong, a lot of people not studying, and then we have less people innovating and creating company. I think for the last 10 years, we're only in the first stage of rolling the startup ecosystem snowball. I think we have some breakthroughs, and still a lot of work we have to do, because in the last 3 years, it's a big disruption, not just in Hong Kong, to everyone, and also a big disruption to the funding ecosystem, to the private investment market. So a lot of the startup also struggle this last 2 years. But I think when we look into the previous few years, with some stimulus from the government, we already have very successful stories coming out from a lot of the companies. And you know, doing a startup is always difficult. You know, failure rate is hard. Everywhere you go, it's not just in Hong Kong. Failure rate is hard. It's big, and you know, the work and life is really difficult being an entrepreneur. But we have good entrepreneurs in Hong Kong. That's the thing to see. Even if you look at mainland stories, a lot of the good companies, Xiaomi, you know, they all have Hong Kong entrepreneur as part of the founding team. So I wouldn't doubt our capability and ability. But definitely still, I have to say, for the startup world, you know, we need more government support, especially in terms of funding. I think yesterday, Secretary also talked about funding gaps in Hong Kong at Science Park. So I think this is also one area we have to focus into, because for a startup to succeed, we need long-term investments. It's not people willing to invest 1 year, 2 years, but 8 to 10 years. That is something that we really lacking behind in Hong Kong. Most people are very short term. We used to buy stocks for 6 months and we have to exit, right? So having this long-termism mentality is the main gap we are lacking behind. If the students look at more successful stories in Hong Kong, you know, I'm very sure more people will join the field.
Yeah, sure. At least we are moving to the right direction. Thank you, Duncan. Robert, you have anything to share?
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit from a youth development and also kind of career development standpoint. From a very macro level, if I'm a young person right now and I look at the world for the next 10, 20 years, I think from a very, very high level, I mean, the new term government in Hong Kong and the new term LegCo members, I think the electoral system being reformed, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that through our roles, for example, in our functional constituency, and also working with the bureaus, various bureaus to, I think this term there's been a restructuring of the Home and Youth Affairs Office, so there's obviously a large emphasis on youth development. And I think with the new term government, at least I personally do feel, prior to joining LegCo, I worked in financial services my entire career. And I think joining this term, you do feel, Duncan and a lot of my colleagues, people are working hard. People are working hard in the Hong Kong SAR government. And I just mentioned, obviously, 2022, 25th year of establishment of Hong Kong, President Xi Jinping came to Hong Kong and kind of reiterated our stance, our position. So Hong Kong as a international financial center, I think there's going to be, our best years are ahead. And I think a key part of that is people and the talent development and the opportunities that it will bring, right, as we integrate into China, but at the same time connecting with the world. So from a macro level, I think there are a lot of things in place in terms of our economic prospects, the large Chinese markets, and Hong Kong's unique positioning. From a micro level, at least in my industry, there's a lot of what we do, we need people. the largest expense is really people. It's not even rent, and then maybe number 2 is IT expense. So it's for a lot of companies in the industry, you have to kind of break through the barrier of just thinking, okay, traditional financial services. No, actually, all companies have to survive, think about technology, right? And innovation. And if I'm selling typewriters today, you have to look at computers to mobile phones and so on and so forth, right? So I think, in short, from a macro level, they're bright prospects. From a micro level, I think a lot of us in government, in LegCo, we're working hard to kind of promote these opportunities for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. With that, we conclude the forum this morning today. Thank you very much for all the guests. I'm sure we have learned a lot from all of you guys. Thank you.